Today, I'm joined by my sister-in-law, Emily. Super excited to have her on. Emily, thanks for joining.
Of course.
So today, I'm going to talk to you a lot about your relationship with my brother, my older brother. As he is a coach, I know he has a lot of responsibilities. He has a lot of influence. I know you love that about his job. I know his job, in the same way it has blessings, has challenges. And so really just trying to get your take on a lot of that. And I know at the same time, he loves his profession, but more than anything, his relationship with God is most important to him. And his relationship with you and the future family you guys are building is second important to him as well. And then thirdly, his coaching. So I would just love to get an inside look from your perspective. And so right off the bat, can you share how you guys met each other and then how that relationship has evolved over the years?
Yeah. So we met in high school. It was our junior year of high school. We both played soccer at Shawnee Mission East. We had a good group of friends that got together, which included you and your wife, which is awesome. And pretty much just started hanging out, playing soccer up at Shawnee Mission East every chance that we could get, and started dating and continued that dating relationship into college. We did a little bit of long distance for a year, and then I moved back to pursue a nursing degree, and got married about 3.5 years ago, and it's been awesome. So pretty much us.
Love it. And you guys have a puppy child. You got Charlie a while ago. Can you share about Charlie a little bit?
Yeah. So Charlie actually is asleep right over here in the corner in this chair. Let's see, we got him when I first moved back from Arkansas, which would have been about close to 7 years ago. And he is just the best thing ever. He brings us so much happiness, and we love just getting to invest in him more now that we have a little bit more time on our hands. And he loves his cousins. He has lots of cousins. So
yeah, absolutely. That's awesome. And I know you shared, obviously you went to school for nursing. How has your nursing career evolved?
So I started my nursing career I worked at St. Luke's on the Plaza in the ER, starting on nights for about 1.5 years. And I loved it. I loved ER nursing as a whole. And but night shift was just really, really rough, especially in a new marriage. And so about after 1.5 years, I switched over to a procedural department over at St. Luke's East in Lee Summit. And since being there, I have gone back to school, and I will graduate with my nurse practitioner degree in August of this year.
Big time.
Oh, yeah.
That'll be fun. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And I know you also touched a little bit on, you played soccer. Can you share a little bit more about everything your athletic experiences entailed?
Yeah. So grew up playing soccer, played soccer into high school, toyed around with the idea of playing soccer in college, and realized I didn't want to be a college athlete, and ran cross country for 2 years in high school. And since then, it's just pickup games and feeling super old after the pickup games.
Yeah, totally get that. It's fun that we can still get out and kick around, and obviously share the common experience of having played before. So it makes it so much easier to play off the whim, and it makes for a fun time.
Yeah.
So like I said, excited to touch on so many different topics with you. So we're kind of just going to jump around. But right off the bat, what's something that you appreciate and value about Bryce as a husband?
He is a very intentional husband. He is somebody who loves knowledge, and any avenue to gain knowledge, he is all for it. And so he dives straight into that with our marriage. And so he's very much into the 5 love languages right now. And so he has very much pursued understanding my love language, and then he loves me well with that. And so I really appreciate that from him.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
So you've been married for about 3.5 years. What's one piece of marriage advice you'd give to other newly married couples?
So touching on the love languages again,
Yeah.
I think it's super important to understand your spouse's love language but then give that to them. So not just the knowledge of it, but the action behind it also.
Yeah. What's Bryce's love language?
He is a words of affirmation person.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And how do you feel? I mean, obviously all of us could always do more and do better, but like from what you've been able to do as far as loving him the way he receives it, what are some stories of victory from that you can think of?
So I think I always thought that Bryce was an acts of service kind of person. So I'd constantly try and make him lunch and make sure the house was cleaned or, do stuff like that until one day we finally actually had a frank conversation about it. And he was like, no, I'm actually a words of affirmation kind of guy. And so that was a victory in itself, was realizing that I was treating him with the wrong love language. But the victories behind it are just, we're big on talking about our love tanks right now. And so like in the last couple of months, especially, he would just say that his love tank feels very full, which is really awesome to hear as a spouse. And just encouraging him in his career right now, because COVID's obviously put a huge damper on what he wants to do as a coach. And so just letting him know that he is doing well, I think has been really important for him. So that's been a victory.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can speak to that a little bit as well. Spending so much time with you guys, I can see that both your love tanks are full, and praise the Lord for that. And I know, like you already mentioned too, Bryce is a guy that likes to seek knowledge and he's always learning something. So often when you're always learning something, you have something to share and teach. And I've noticed you've received that well, and you're encouraging him in many ways as he's sharing those things. And so I'm very likely that's affirming to him, whether or not it's words, but you're receiving it well too. So I've seen that, and that's been awesome. So you mentioned love languages is a way you invest in your relationship. What are some other things you guys do to invest in your relationship?
Probably about a year and a half into our marriage, we realized that the weeks would just go by and we hadn't talked about what we were doing that week or what the week looked like. And then all of a sudden it's been a month and we couldn't tell you what we had done for that entire month. And so something that's been really helpful that you actually introduced us to is Jeremy and Audrey Roloff's questions that they do every week. And so I would say we do a modified version of those because some questions we just don't really feel apply to us, but just doing those touch points every single week and then outlining what our week looks like together has been really, really helpful for us.
Yeah, that's awesome. What's one of the questions from those weekly questions that you really like?
Name something you're thankful for in your spouse. So I think that as life blows by us half the time, we forget to tell our spouse what we're thankful for. And so that's something that's been really encouraging through the weeks.
Yeah, that's so good. Love that. What would you say the hardest part of being a coach's spouse is?
I think the hardest part for me is he gets pulled in a million different directions, it seems like. And so there's always work to be done. And so getting us to a place in the evenings where work isn't a thing is probably the most challenging part. So
yeah. And on the flip side, what's your favorite part of his job?
I love seeing how he invests in the girls and the boys that he coaches. It's awesome.
Yeah. What are some tangible examples you would say of like how he's invested in their lives?
So again, Bryce is very much into knowledge. And so he wants to understand everybody's love language. And so like one of his goalkeeper right now for his Toka boys, he was going through and memorizing a verse with him. And he has a girl on his team who was just, the transition of going into being an adult after college. And She was looking for a mentor, and Bryce, prayed and thought about somebody that would be a good fit for her and invested in that aspect of her life, which was awesome.
Yeah, those are two great examples. That's awesome. And I know with COVID, Bryce's fall season was affected. Their playoffs got pushed to this spring. And so I know they essentially have some important things to look forward to here in the coming months. What's something you're excited about for him, for the team, to support him in over the next few months?
So I'm very excited to watch how they do in what would now be the postseason. I think that their team is just really good right now, and it seems like they are working together really well. Something that I'm excited about for Bryce is he's just really realizing that COVID has taken a really big toll on a lot of people's mental health, especially kids in college who are trying to look forward to the next thing they're going to do. And so he is very much encouraging the girls right now to, if they need a day where, life is just overwhelming, that he's like, you know what, just come tell me. And you take that day off and you go reflect, and that's okay.
Yeah.
And as a nurse, I very much appreciate the fact that he is pouring into other people's mental health around him.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, absolutely. It's awesome. And what would you say you guys typically like to do in the thick of a season when he does get an off day? What do you guys like to do on that off day?
We like to have a slow morning at home with a pot of coffee. And I don't know. Usually we'll try to watch a movie. I'm trying to think of the last time that our life was super hectic, and COVID has kind of put a damper on that. Usually we'll hang out with you and your wife. That seems to be a thing we like to do on off days.
Let's see. What would you say you guys look forward to after a busy season? So like, what do you look forward to about an off season?
Probably having dinner together most nights. That's something that was really exciting for us, especially when I got off night shift. And, ever since COVID, there's a lot more nights that we have dinner together. But I would say that that's something we always really looked forward to after season ended.
Yeah, big time. What's the go-to meal?
Ooh, anything on the grill, honestly. It's just so good and easy.
Yeah. What would you say you guys are learning right now as a couple? So obviously you mentioned love languages, but what's the Lord teaching you? And if you can speak to what he's teaching Bryce.
Something that I feel like God is teaching both of us right now is that he gives good gifts, and to just kind of sit back in that, and like the grace and the mercy that God gives us. I feel like in our past relationship with God, it was very much this rigid, it has to look a certain way or else it doesn't look correct. And that's something that I know that I've battled through a lot, and just relishing the fact that like the creator of the universe loves us, like we are his chosen people. And I think that that's something that we both are learning right now.
Yeah, I love it. And to expand on that a little bit more, what role has faith played in your guys' marriage?
A big one. I think that I don't know, the word that always comes to my brain when I think of this question is sacrifice, and forgiveness. Like, God forgave us, Christ sacrificed for us. And because of that, like, I'm able to love Bryce that much more. I'm able to sacrifice for him that much more. And I would say that he would probably say the same thing.
Yeah, absolutely. The Lord's Spirit allows us to be selfless.
Yeah.
I know that goes a long way in marriage. I mean, you're yoked to someone, you're doing life with someone. If you're selfish and you're continually selfish, it's only going to be butting heads. It's going to be friction. It's going to be boiling over points all the time. So that's a big one. How would you say Bryce makes you feel special? What are some things that he has done over the years that really stand out to you?
He gives me my love language, which is words of affirmation.
Yeah.
And he always wants to just know me more and more. He wants to dive deeper into who I am, which makes me feel really loved, and wants to understand how to love me best. And something that he began when we were first dating was he'd just randomly bring me home a rose from
Yeah.
the house, and it's just something that he still does every so often, and it just makes me feel really loved.
Yeah, that's big time.
Yeah.
I think often a lot of times, there's the point of arrival where, people are so in love that when they get engaged, like they're blind to everything else. And when they get married, they're blind to everything else. But to find and still seek, now that is actually love. And to be pursued is an amazing thing. And obviously, we're all continuing to evolve and grow, and we have to continue to learn each other. And so I think that's a great trait that he brings to the table, and I know you strive for that as well. So I know you mentioned some marriage advice earlier, and I know you've spoken a little bit about the dynamic of coach-spouse relationship. As you think about other people out there who are potentially facing the same things you guys are, what advice would you give for those that are spouses of coaches?
Something that has been really helpful for us is creating a schedule, honestly, and something that's really important to us is our date night. And like, I know that we had told you this, we do our family goals every year, and 2018 it was have a date night once a month, and that's just funny to look back on that. That's what we thought we needed. And the last couple of years we've been able to have our date night every single week on the same night, and that's been really helpful. And just honestly outlining the week of, these are the meetings I have, here's where we're going to fit in some intentional time together, and then sticking to that, I think, is really, really important.
Yeah, I agree. That's awesome. So to finish out, I just got a couple different things. Have the big talk questions here, which I know Bryce got these a while back, so you're very familiar with them, but would love to just hear your answers to a couple of these random questions, and then we'll finish with a few of your favorites. And so question one says, what have you started but never finished, and why? Does anything come to mind for that, or should I move on to the next question?
Andrew, my life is full of starting projects and not finishing them. I would say something that I've always, this is just so, it makes me sound like such a nerd. I've always wanted to just like sit and watch all the Harry Potter movies, and I just can't get myself to go do it. That's the simplest answer.
Yeah, we need to have like a movie week where we watch all the most prominent series. So Harry Potter, we got Star Wars. I think the other night, lately there seems to be a lot of Fast and Furious on TV.
Yeah.
And I love bits and pieces of those movies, but I haven't sat down and watched them all the way through.
Yeah.
And so that would be a fun thing. Next question. What is one question you would ask a fortune teller?
One question I would ask a fortune teller. Ooh, that's a good one. I think, will I ever be able to take another trip again? Like a trip to a beach.
Yeah.
That's what I would ask right now in my current life.
There we go. It's a good question. All right. So a few of your favorites. What is your favorite refreshing beverage?
Ooh. I really like a cherry Coke.
Nice. And what's your favorite date spot?
Probably going to get sushi.
Sushi. Do you guys go to a lot of different places or have a favorite spot for sushi?
We kind of go all over. I really like Blue Sake Sushi, the one over in Westwood. That one's good.
Yeah, it's a good one. And last one, what's your favorite TV show?
New Girl. Too good.
Yeah, nice. Have you watched that multiple times through or just once through and you love it?
Multiple times through.
Oh boy.
I'm a sitcom kind of girl.
Yeah, love it. Sweet, Emily. Well, appreciate you taking the time. That was a lot of fun. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Of course.